Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Andy Ice. I'm your host, David Trinka, alongside Lincoln Retzloff and Ian Iverson. And today is Tuesday, not November, sorry, December 2nd, new month. Uh, if you've been following along with us so far this season, you will know that we did not upload last week. I was going to put something on Twitter about it, but I just was like, I don't really, whatever. We had some due to unforeseen circumstances, we were unable to record. I'm not going to put the blame on anybody, but their name starts with L. Um, just kidding, Lincoln. Um, it just didn't work out with how people were traveling for Thanksgiving, so we didn't end up doing it. But we'll go over, and it was just the recap of the U18 game, which we didn't really care about. The only thing we really wanted to do last week was cover the Bemidji State re or preview, but we'll go over that series this week today, and then we'll go through the preview of the St. Cloud State series that happens this weekend at St. Cloud. UND will be on the road for the first time in quite a few weeks now, almost a month, I want to say. Right, fellas?
Think
Or I
so.
guess
First one's
We
Omaha.
played at Bemidji last Friday, I guess, but for a road series. Yeah, last time was in Omaha, so um yeah, we'll get into that. We'll probably cover a little bit of the World Junior update. They put out the preliminary roster for the team. It came out yesterday on Monday, the 1st of December, as things are starting to get into that season and starting to heat up as the first half of the college hockey season is starting to come to a close. So let's do weekend recaps actually. Sorry, I've been out of the game for 2 weeks, so I kind of forgot almost. Let's do weekend recaps. Jake Sanderson has a goal tonight, by the way, fellas. So just wanted to throw that out there. So does Tyler Clevin has an assist. Um, who wants to go first? You can do a weekend recap, or you can do like the last week and what you did for Thanksgiving or whatever. So who wants to go first?
Mine's pretty short. Just watch the games on TV. Uh, pretty, which it was actually kind of fun getting to, I will say on Saturday, since I'm normally at the games, actually getting to watch the Midco broadcast, which is
Hmm.
always cool to see, to listen to Alex and Jim call the entire game. And also Saturday, I watched the UND football game at Rumors. That was pretty fun. Hoping they can pull their win off against Tarleton State. It's going to be a lot tougher, but yeah, overall, it was a good weekend. Obviously, celebrated Thanksgiving, but yeah, that was about it for me.
Nice, nice. Ian, what about you?
Yeah, I went home for Thanksgiving. Didn't get to watch much of the game at all on Friday, but I watched the whole game Saturday. Other than that, not much. Pretty basic.
You guys are pretty lame this week, eh? Well,
Yeah.
let's see. I went. My family celebrated Thanksgiving not last Saturday, I guess, but the Saturday before that. Saturday before Thanksgiving. But I still made it to Fargo for lunch on Thanksgiving Day because we didn't have work. I had work on Friday, so I had to make it back. But I thought maybe earlier this year I was gonna try and go to the Bemidji game on Friday in Bemidji, but I didn't want to take off work and get tickets and stuff. I didn't want to drive either, so I just ended up watching that on TV. Had a pretty laid back night, I want to say. And then Saturday, like you said, Lincoln, we went to Rumors for the football game. That was pretty cool. That's a hidden gem in Grand Forks. I'm sure a lot of people who are here that are listening that know what Rumors is and have been there know it's a pretty good vibe. So unfortunately, won't be there this Saturday to watch the game because I'll be in St. Cloud for the away series. But um, hoping it won't be the last one, so I'll make it to the next Saturday at Rumors. But hidden gem there, and then went to the game on Saturday with a coworker, and then watched them win. That was pretty sweet. Got to see both goals on our end, so it's always a good deal. But yeah, so we'll get into the recap of the I don't know why I said Denver UND Bemidji State series. UND took on Bemidji State at Bemidji State on Friday. They were able to win 5-3 as Connor McClellan had the first goal. Ben Strinden stayed hot, had a goal each night, and UND was able to take a 4-3 lead late in the second period and then close it out with empty netter, 5 seconds to go. I'm not gonna check because I'm trying to run this. So if you get one of you guys wants to check the last time we beat Bemidji in Bemidji, I know we beat them in a shootout when Jackson Blake and Reese Gaber were on the team. That would have been 2023, I think.
2 years ago.
I think it was Blake's.
Mm-hmm.
Did we win in regulation that year?
That would have been a shootout. Let me look at the
I
last one we
thought
won.
I thought that was Jackson Blake's freshman year because it was the same year that we played Quinnipiac. I remember because Jackson Blake did the same move on the Bemidji State goalie he did on the Quinnipiac goalie on Yanni Peretz. And that was the same year that we played that Gophers and Quinnipiac played the national championship. So that would have been 22-23.
Let's find out here.
While you're figuring that out, UND played on the Saturday night at home, and Ben Strinden had the first goal of the night. God, that kid's crazy. I saw it go in, and I'm like, I didn't see who scored it. And then as you skating towards the bench, I'm like, no way, that was Ben Strinden again, bro. It's crazy. Then Will Zellers had the power play goal in overtime to win that one. Verhoff with 2 points on both goals on the Saturday, and didn't look like he got a point on Friday. So what's it looking like here there, Ian?
Last time we won against them in regulation at Bemidji was 2021, 2022.
Okay.
Yeah. So four years
Driscoll's
ago.
return to Bemidji. All right. I thought I'll open it up. I thought UND played really well. I thought it was the first weekend that I thought we played. I was pretty happy with how we played the entire time. Um, I might be missing something, but I wasn't. It was the first weekend I wasn't worried really at any point of the weekend. I thought Spunar looked good. Obviously, he got two more wins as he started both nights. I guess on Saturday or Friday he had under a 900, but he cleaned that up um on the Saturday when he had
And
uh
970.
33 saves on 34 shots. So yeah, that raised his overall weekend save percentage to over 900. He would have had um 50 saves on 54 shots. So pretty good there for Spunar, as it looks like UND's almost kind of chosen who their goalie is going to be for the time being. Maybe just gliding into Christmas break. I'm sure they'll put Gibson Homer in for a look. The second they get an opportunity, whether that's if Spooner loses or whatever, I'm sure they'll put him in. Um, UND battling some injuries as well. Elias Rickwood stayed out this weekend, and obviously Josh Zakreski is out long term as well still. I think I'm missing somebody else.
Smolik.
Smolik was out.
Yep, Z's out, which you'd hate to see. He's missed more games than he's played at UND, so you just hope that he can get healthy here. All right, I'll open up to the floor here. Anyone wants to add in what they thought, what they saw, and then we'll go from
Uh,
there.
yeah, I thought it was a pretty good weekend of hockey. We didn't get to talk about it last week, but I was thinking the entire time this is a series where Dane Jackson got hired because we need to be able to win two games against Bemidji, and Bemidji is a
Mm,
very good team. Had they won an OT the other night, I would not have been shocked, and honestly, I would have
yeah.
taken. Like I said, I would have been just happy that we made it to overtime. But Yeah, happy that the team was able to close out. They were able to win by a lot, not by a lot, 5-3, and then able to win a 2-1 game. So it just goes to show on any given night you can win scoring a lot or a little, which I think is a big deal.
Hmm.
Bemidji, like we said, is really talented. I'm glad they have a really skilled team this year because it's fun. You know, it's like I feel like it's good to have our guys match up against other high skilled guys rather than I don't know necessarily. Sometimes we play UND's play Bemidji and they've had they're still good, but they're just less skilled. They're not as good, and they don't end up finishing well at the end of the year, so it hurts North Dakota. But I think this Bemidji team is going to do good things, and these wins are going to really benefit UND. Special teams was really good. I was pretty satisfied with that. Power play was pretty much what it needed to be, where it needs to be. Along, I thought the penalty kill was pretty good too. Um, Spunar played good. I think, yeah, I mean, there were probably maybe one or two on Friday that he wants back. But other than that, I did think there were quite a few defensive breakdowns at points, just easy shots that were on him. I think some of this, too, you can allude to is you don't have Ellis Rickwood in and you don't have Bennett Zmolik in, which are probably the one and two guys. Those are probably the, out of each forward position group, when it comes to a two-way game, or specifically defensive game, those are like the guys you want to be in the most. So that's something I think UND fans got to think about is if they're looking back on the weekend feeling doubt, it's like, hey, you're out with your best defenseman and one of your best forwards. So I mean, overall, I was really happy with how the weekend turned out, and I think it was a good stepping stone into St. Cloud State, and hopefully they can ride the momentum here.
I would say the same. We were talking about it before the games, but I think we were kind of all agreeing that this is the year that Bemidji's going to win the CCHA. And, a sweep there, granted, the rest of our season needs to go well, but that would pretty much guarantee our playoff spot, which is really nice. Like you said, that's a very important series to win. It's not late in the year, but it's late enough into the year where it really starts to matter. And so you put together two really complete games there without, two or three of our key guys. And it was a good weekend of hockey. It was fun to watch. Bemidji is a very good team this year. I would not be surprised to also see them in the playoff mix come March. Granted that they finish well, but they have a lot of talented guys. That top line is really good. It's comparable to some of the other top lines in college hockey. And as of right now, between Bemidji and Mankato, it looks like they're going to run away with the CCHA. So it was a good weekend. We stepped up in a lot of ways, showed a lot of grit. I think in those close games, it's really easy for us to drop some. That's what we did kind of early in the year when we didn't score a lot. So it was good to see us win a very low scoring game.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like my mic is kind of bugging out again. I don't know how long this is gonna last. I might have to just hold it the rest of the episode, but God, what the heck? Uh, yeah, so yeah, like we said, Bemidji's obviously a really talented team. It was a really important weekend. One of the things we wanted to have a pod last week was to reiterate, like Bemidji's a good team this year, and they usually are. They play competitively all the time. They just, playing in the CCHA, obviously, you don't get a lot of opportunities to beat ranked opponents. So, and obviously, Bemidji State plays well against us every time, no matter what the skill or the teams look like. They're always gritty, always stepping up to play us. And it's always a fun series. I look forward to that one. It's just a fun one that you're going to see every year. What's it? Is the Highway 2? What's the highway that it's on? Anyone
Yeah,
know?
I would
Battle
too.
Highway 2? Okay. Yeah, so obviously a fun one. And yeah, UND being able to step away with two wins, it honestly hasn't happened a lot in the last couple years. So, especially after last year, it's a good feeling going into the rest of the first half here of the season, stepping away with two wins against a gritty, hard playing team like Bemidji. Obviously feels pretty good. With that being said, anybody else got anything to say before we move into the St. Cloud
Not
State
an important
preview?
piece, but It's funny to see Dane Jackson really fired up for kind of the first time this year. I don't know if
Hmm.
anybody caught it. I want to say it was in the second period of the Saturday night game.
I wouldn't have seen that,
Anybody was
no.
watching the live cast, they had a close up to Dane Jackson. He dropped about seven F-bombs on the ref right in front of the
Oh, you know what? I think
camera.
you sent that in the chat, didn't you?
Yeah.
That was
Okay, yeah, I
awesome.
did.
It was
Yeah.
fun seeing him fired up. It's good to see that passion. Obviously head coaches aren't supposed to be that, brash, but Dane's a guy that's, a little harder around the edges than somebody like Bradbury was, and it was good to see him fired up. It really shows
Hmm.
he's extremely passionate about the program.
Exactly. Yeah, so with that being said, we'll move into the preview at St. Cloud State this coming weekend. St. Cloud State currently sits at 7-7, so they're an even 500 right now. Uh, Going into their last matchup, which was not a little bit more than a week ago. Well, almost it'll be 2 weeks coming this weekend. They had a bye last week, just like Duluth did. And going into that, they most recently played Miami at Miami. They lost to them in overtime on the Saturday or the Friday, and then beat them 4-2 on the Saturday. So that Saturday was their first win in it was their first win since the beginning of the month on the first against Western at home. They went to Amsoil and got swept, with the exception of earning an NCHC point by forcing overtime on Saturday against Duluth. And then they played St. Thomas in Lee and Penny Anderson Arena. I want to say that might have been the first game that they played there when they opened it. I don't know for sure, but they lost 3-1 in that battle. And then obviously the next series that they played was against Miami, which looks like they had a weird. That's a weird break. Hmm. Looks like they played St. Thomas in the middle of the week. Interesting. But yeah. So I mean, they're coming off of a win. Honestly, I like seeing that. If they would have came off a loss, I would think that they would have be a little bit more hungrier coming into this series, in a different mindset. Not that they're not going to be hungry. Obviously, they will be at home, but I would just rather play a team that's coming off of a win than coming off of a loss, especially if there's multiple losses wrapped up a little bit behind that one. Just makes the team hungrier, and I think UND's obviously rolling right now. So, uh, yeah, St. Cloud State 7-7. I want to say they are. I did see them. I think they were receiving votes this week in the rankings. I'd have to look on where they sit in the NPI, but let me look real quick. Do 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 do. St. Cloud State sits 14th in the NPI right now. So once that comes into full effect here in, I want to say maybe a week, um, they are currently in the tournament, or they're on the bubble right now. Um, so St. Cloud State in a pretty good position, pretty decent position right now. 14th in the NPI. They're not ranked in the poll, but the poll doesn't really matter, so we're not gonna pay attention to that right now. Uh, Someone want to look up last time? Did we play at the Herb last year? I know we did 2 years ago, and we won
I
one of
want to say we
them.
did.
Yeah, they did play
Um,
there last year. I remember that.
does anyone remember what the outcome was? That was the one
Oh,
I missed that one.
mm, I want to say we split, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
I
We
think
usually do split
you're
there,
right.
yeah.
So we won the shootout Friday night, and then we won 6-2 Saturday night, so we got four out of the six.
Yep.
Okay. And that doesn't happen very often in St. Cloud. Usually you walk out of there with just half the points. So, uh, wait, we won in a shootout
We did.
and we won in regulation.
Hmm.
So we got 5 out of 6.
Oh, I didn't know they give the fifth for shootouts. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of non-conference, that's why.
no, you're good. Um, yeah, so going into this weekend, Ian, you put a shitload of stats on here, man. I don't know if you want to run through this or not, but
Sure.
oh,
On
hold on, right,
paper,
quick,
they
quick,
look like
before
a
you,
pretty, I mean, on paper, they look like a pretty good team. Besides that skid, I would say they're going to be a middle of the road NCHC team this year. I was expecting them to be kind of at the bottom, but they're actually proving to play pretty well. A lot of that's due to their goaltender. Um, right now, he's got a 940 save percentage, which is lethal.
hmm
He's only letting in, 2.04 a game. So they're going to be relying on him. Their shots are pretty even. They shoot a lot, but they also take a lot of shots against. This is a weekend I think it's going to be important again for special teams. Right now, St. Cloud has a 31% power play, which is, I would assume, one of the top in the nation. But at the same time, their penalty kill is pretty terrible. It's 74%. So UND is going to need to be really adamant on the penalty kill. I think it sounds like Smolik's going to come back and play this week. If he does, it's going to help a lot on our penalty kill. And as far as we've been playing on the power play recently, I just keep on rolling. So they're also
yeah,
pretty good at the dot. They actually have a better percentage than we do right now at around 54.5. So it's just going to be a game of the small details. Especially on the Olympic sheet. You take a
hmm
penalty and it really opens up the ice for St. Cloud, and that's why you see them win so much at home. That extra 10 feet of ice that they're used to helps a lot against teams, and it really spreads out the ice. So just need to be intentional this weekend, and it should be
hmm
a pretty easy sweep.
Yeah, I would
I
say looking at you just look at their roster, like it's a lot of the returning guys uh, who are
Bernavik, you got to
scoring a
watch
lot of
out
goals.
for.
Bernovik's having a good season. Barrett Hall and Tyson Gross and Gavin Thorson's going to get under a lot of guys' skins. So I mean, like you were kind of saying, Ian, that you got to stay out of the penalty box, especially against a lethal team like this. And yeah, they're 7-7. Like they're not gonna want to lose this weekend. And then they have Denver the weekend after. So like this is kind of a really hard finish to the schedule for them. So I don't know. Like it's gonna be a really tough series for St. Cloud and for UND as well. Like it's honestly one of my more favorite series to watch on TV, just because there's years where UND
Absolutely.
has a really good game and then they'll get blown out by 8 goals or something. But it's always just really competitive, exciting. It'll be fun. This is something I think we should pay attention to is how are our WHL guys gonna play on that big ice sheet? Like they're gonna have like guys like Verhoff, Reshny, all those guys are gonna have a lot more room to skate around. And then look at like a guy like not a WHL guy, but like Strindon's been playing really good recently, which we can get into if we want. Is he? How is he gonna look on it? Like, is he gonna look even better than we've seen him before? So it's like it's gonna be an exciting weekend. And hopefully Spunar's ready for it and whatnot. I'd put my money that he's playing Friday for sure. So yeah,
Yeah, so we talked about it a little bit. Um, Looking at their schedule right now, St. Cloud only has one win against a ranked opponent thus far in their season, and that was at home against Western, a team that has looked shaky at many points so far in this season, where they've struggled with goaltending. Um, we won't get too much into that, but they've had four matchups against ranked opponents so thus far, and losing three of them. Obviously, this weekend is their next two opportunities. I believe Miami is now ranked, which is something you don't see very often. I know I want to kind of want to look back the last time that they were in the poll. I believe
It
they're
was
at
like
20 or 19 right now.
2017 or something. It was
Yeah.
a long time ago.
So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see kind of how we match up with them. I mean, I mean on paper we're a better team, but obviously you can't that doesn't mean doesn't always mean shit. Like we've had a lot of better teams than St. Cloud has and we've managed to lose. It depends on um who comes out and sets the tone. UND's going to look to go out there and try and score quickly. Um this is a series that I've been to a lot in St. Cloud. It's definitely the most road series I don't know what you wanted how you want to word it, but it's the road series I've been to the most. I mean, I grew up going to this stadium. The fans, St. Cloud State fans hate North Dakota fans. So, and this is the closest. I want to say besides Bemidji, this is I mean in conference, this is the closest road series that there is. Um, I want to say. I don't know. How far is Duluth? Is it closer than 3.5 hours?
About the same.
I don't think
They're
it
about the
is.
same. Duluth's a little longer, I think.
Yeah. But
Not by much.
anyway, like even then, there's just a lot more alum around the St. Cloud to the city's area. A lot more alum are going to make it out for the St. Cloud series than they would going up to Duluth. Um, so it'll be I'm really hoping for a good atmosphere. I think it usually is good, especially the St. Cloud State fans don't like UND, so they'll come out and cheer. I think it'd be more like a 60-40. St. Cloud fans are going to be having maybe 60%. I don't know how full it's going to be. St. Cloud's struggled with attendance in the last couple of years for like literally no reason. Like there's no reason that this program shouldn't attract more fans. Um, Apparently one of the big reasons is the you can stream the games for free. The single games are free to stream, so hypothetically speaking, logically speaking, why would you go to the game when you can watch it on TV for free? Why try to get a babysitter to watch the kids when I can go to the game or watch the game for free from home and get drunk or fuck it, get high. I don't know what they're doing, but um, I we can maybe vent a little bit about St. Cloud right now, just the absolute turmoil that they're in as a university. It's just a fucking mess, dude. They back like growing up there, like they used to be pretty popular, and I know in the 90s it was one of the schools to be at. It was a big party school, and they preached over the last couple decades. I don't know when it started, but they didn't want to be known as the party school, so they kind of shifted away from that. And now look at them. They're struggling to get attendance, struggling to get students to go there. They're cutting programs left and right. They're bleeding money. Obviously, the state will continue to throw money at that school to try and keep it afloat, but you just got to really hope that they don't have to eventually cut the hockey program because when I spoke with Clay Matvick, he said it's definitely a possibility. They'll do anything to keep that school afloat, and that includes cutting the hockey program, cutting I mean, they cut a wrestling program that has won a national championship before. I don't know what at level, I assume D2, but they've cut programs that have had success. So we've played St. Cloud State in football a lot in the past years. They were in the NCC, yeah, NCC with us and NDSU and all of them. So, I mean, sad to see that the situation that they're in. Does anyone have anything to add to this? Like, you guys can add in and stuff. Like,
Two
I don't
years
want
ago,
to
they
be.
cut, I think, like half of everything, like half of all their academic programs. The school is basically bankrupt. However, I don't see it feasible that they'd cut the hockey program because it is like the one money-making sport for them.
Right.
Kind of like UND hockey. Like I don't even think football really cracks a profit for UND.
No.
I think hockey and
The,
football are the only UND sports that do crack a profit.
Well,
yeah.
football didn't. I don't know if they do now, but as of like a couple of years ago, they hadn't been making any money. It was only UND hockey that was making money.
Mm.
So I would imagine they hold on to it strictly because it's the only sport actually breaking a profit for the university. But yeah, I mean, St. Cloud in general is just not the best area to be in at the moment.
That whole state's just a fucking mess right now, dude. It's just, oh my God, it's changed so much over the last um 15 years. I mean, I don't want to shit on it a bunch because I know I probably have fans that listen from there. I mean, I grew up there. I know what it's like a little. I haven't been there in a while as much as I used to when I grew up there, but growing up there was definitely interesting. All right, Lincoln, you can go, I guess.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I didn't really have much to add on to that. It's such a fun series to watch. I really enjoy it's. I've been there before. It's fun to watch in person, but it's probably one of my more favorite ones to watch on TV, just because you never know what they're gonna say.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
that might be the best part.
Gino
uh,
Parrish.
Gino Parrish just it's so
Fucking
funny. I'm so
guy.
excited, and it's always around this time of the year. Like just an absolute vibe. It'll be a good series.
Yeah, I can this is it's a lost cause. I'm not even gonna try. Can you guys still hear me okay, or
Yeah.
is it like okay, kind of just holding it? Um yeah, I mean, like you said, Lincoln, the broadcast is honestly one of the more fun ones to listen to because St. Cloud has it's a big broadcasting school. They've had a lot of alumni come out of there. Taylor Budge, obviously, UND fans know who that is. She went to St. Cloud State. Clay Matvick announced the regionals for quite a few years. Uh, UND fans will recognize his voice. He's a St. Cloud State alum. And I don't know if they like to just troll because I mean it doesn't take much to look up stuff. But I don't remember the circumstance, but it was a couple years ago when Jackson Blake was playing there. They put like NDSU logo or called us North Dakota State on the broadcast or had something on there. Ian, do you remember what that was? I feel
Yeah,
like
I
you
remember
remember.
that. And then I think the
They're just dicking
NCAA
around.
hit Jackson Blake from Notre Dame or something in the
Hmm.
when we went to the playoffs. Yeah, it's one of the ones where it's the home announcing is so biased, it's actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, Gino is unreal.
yeah, at the very least, they're charismatic, and that's enjoyable. It's not like BU where we went to play them a couple years ago, and like the announcers were biased and also terrible.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
They
it's a
were
fun one
so
to
they were
listen
kind of
to.
funny though. They were the most nonchalant like announcers ever. Like when Jackson Blake walked in on that BU goal. He says like, and a goal by Blake, and then you can just hear in the background very quietly the guy goes, a great individual effort, just nonchalant as heck. Like I just started laughing every time I see that
Yeah.
clip now. But continue, sorry.
That was good. Not to get off topic, but the Clarkson announcers I thought were great. I don't know if any of you guys watched those games for those listening, but they kept calling us the Fighting Sioux over and over and over again. I think it
They
was about
did?
10
I
times.
don't know how I missed that.
Hmm.
Yeah, they over and over they kept calling us the Fighting Sioux, and
3 or 4
you hear the
times.
guy 2 minutes later, he's like, and this is the fifth time I've called them by the name I shouldn't. So that's good. Yeah, I mean, this St. Cloud's got kind of a fiery fan base. I
They
remember going to the
do.
Frozen Face Off when we played them, I want to say 3 years ago when we missed playoffs. And like there were full-grown St. Cloud adults yelling at, 8-year-old North Dakota fans and, telling them to F off and all sorts of stuff. And I'm like, these guys are, pretty fired up. So they hate us. I think it's kind of like a little brother series. Not to diss on them, but it's kind of like the same thing with Omaha. They have a big thing with us. We don't really have much of a thing with them, but it always makes for a good series. Like Lincoln said, I'm excited to see the offense open up on a wide sheet of ice. I really think those top two lines that are pretty quick, are really, hopefully going to have a big weekend just because they're able to get out and skate in open ice. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, like we said, I think almost every year St. Cloud has put up six or more goals in one night against us at St. Cloud. So we'll see. I'm not too nervous. I think this is kind of the best team or the best matchup we've had against them in a while. So I trust our odds, but depending on how their goalie plays, he might just stand on his head.
Yeah. Yeah, back to the whole Gino Parrish thing. Lincoln knows this one, but a couple of years ago, it would have been it was that whole weekend when we had it was 2023, 24 season and that they had messed up like they called us either NDSU and Jackson Blake or they put something on Jackson Blake's player card or something where he was from North Dakota State or something like I know they're not that stupid. These students are not that dumb. You'd never play NDSU in hockey or like any sport. Like there's no reason that should be wrong. They're doing it to troll. And I don't know how these kids aren't getting fired for doing that shit. If I did that shit when I was at UND doing stuff, they would be so pissed at me. And I would
That's what
not
happens
be in
when your school's
charge of doing that
bankrupt.
shit again. Huh?
That's what happens when your school's bankrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they had yeah. And then they had Gino Parrish. They had either a 2 on 0 or a 1 on 0 and Ludwig Persson made just an unreal save with a pad or the glove and Gino Parrish just he's talking about the save and he just goes, I just don't like him.
Yeah.
Like just calling out Ludwig like he doesn't like why? Like oh my God, Gino.
They
Like I do
they
like him, but one thing people should look out for is St. Cloud State does not have the play-by-play announcer anymore because they did it on Fox Plus 9. That guy is now does the announcing play-by-play for the Gophers because the Gophers are on Fox Plus 9, I believe, because of the whole Bally Sports shit where they went bankrupt or whatever. So he does that now, and then St. Cloud State's new play-by-play announcer is the same play-by-play announcer that does the Minnesota High School State tournament. Um, if you watch that tournament, you'll recognize his voice pretty quickly. He's been, I assume he'll be doing the games. I don't want to say that you should expect him to, but he's been doing the Cinco State games this year. So I would assume that he's going to be doing it for this weekend too. I just don't know if they're going to change something up. But I would say that you can expect him to be the announcer, and he does a good job. So I like him. And you said like you look like you're going to say something there.
Me?
I said Lincoln.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, they're probably not gonna say Jake Livinovich's name right. It's more
Yeah,
like
Lavanovich.
Spunar, Livanovic. That's like a guarantee, but
I don't get
yeah,
how people are messing that up so much.
they
Like, I heard
literally
it
give him
on,
pronunciation guides too
yeah,
on like the line charts.
yeah, and I remember hearing I don't remember the play-by-play announcer saying it wrong, but the PA guy at Bemidji said it wrong. I remember
Yep.
hearing during the starting lineup, and then they said it wrong at Clarkson, but I wouldn't always expect Clarkson to get it right. But yeah, I mean, it is right there. Like it's not hard to even when like Spit and Chicklets does their stuff, like they get people's names wrong all the time, and I'm like, dude, have you never seen this guy play? He's in the NHL. Like, get their name right. This is a different, obviously not Jake Livanovich, but I don't get how it doesn't take a long time to just figure out how to say someone's name if you're given the resources. But I could go on forever ranting. I'm not going to do it though, just for everyone else's sake. Um, just yap, yap, yap. Anyway, uh, did you want to go through the rest of these stats here, Ian? I don't know if you got through all of them or not.
I will say, St. Cloud looks like they're a kind of a first period team. So I just kind of looked at what their goal spreads were. And they almost double their opponent's goals in the first period. So I'd expect this is a team that comes out pretty fast and pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
But the spread tightens up pretty quick in the last two periods. I think they're only a goal up or even in those periods. And seeing North Dakota, being a third period team, it's a good opportunity that if we, keep it pretty close in the first two periods and we don't let St. Cloud get a couple up on us, have this game in control. And I thought especially, the past couple games with the exclusion of the Saturday night against Arizona State, we have looked like a very, very good hockey team. Very complete. I mean, we haven't let up a lot of shots, besides Bemidji, but that game was just kind of a shootout in itself. This is a game that hopefully even on the big sheet we can suffocate them a little bit, force them to take bad shots and help Spunar out a little bit. I thought that that's what we did a lot better the Saturday night game is we forced Bemidji to not take quality chances. And it paid off. I mean, and another thing kind of on our goaltending, for all those people that are, still going to say, oh, Spunar's our guy, I would say he has earned it at this point. But I will
Mm-hmm.
say, looking at Homer and the goals he's let in, half of the goals he let in are either on the power play or shorthanded goals. Um, so that just again backs up like Homer is not a bad goalie by any means. I think he's just got hung out to dry by the defense, especially on the power play. 8 out of the 22 goals you've let in being on the power play is pretty brutal. That's over a third of the shots. So
Yep.
I think we still have a great goalie room. I think Spunar right now has it, at least until Christmas break, like you said. But um,
Mm-hmm.
it was a rarity where we have two really solid goaltenders, and I think we should, do everything we can to keep supporting them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've been good. We should do some score predictions here. I'll go first. Let's let you guys take a second to think. I mean, I haven't really thought about it, but as you go in, I'm gonna put them down on the sheet here, and we'll keep track of them. But just write down your own predictions. Uh, Friday. Oh, which one are we gonna lose? That's the question. Uh, hmm. I think we win Friday. I can't see what I'm typing because Lincoln's little name banners above where I'm type where I'm right where I'm typing. I'll do we win 5-3 on Friday. And then I will say we will lose let's do 3-2 in overtime. Just because one of them usually goes to extra an extra session. So I'm gonna go 5-3 win in regulation on Friday, and then a 3-2 loss on Saturday to cap off that weekend. Usually I leave Herb Brooks disappointed so on the Saturday. So I'm just gonna roll with that. Um, who wants to go next?
Yeah, I said 4-2 last Friday.
You guys gotta put your
I
name on there, by the way, because it just says UND.
Spooner really hasn't had a. I wouldn't say has he had a bad Friday. Not yet. So not saying he will have a bad Friday, but I just got this. I don't know. I got this hunch that the boys are going to be undisciplined. Gavin Thorson's going to get under their necks and then or under their skin, and then they're gonna I don't know let up some PK goals. But then Saturday, I think they're gonna come out, take care of business. Honestly, I that's just my prediction, but I like your guys' guesses too. Like I could see anything happening this weekend. I think they're gonna lose at least once. I feel like I like it. Did you have them as an OT win or loss, Dave?
Loss on Saturday.
I could see that. Yeah. This is a toss up for me. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm just gonna say 4-2 loss Friday, 4-1 win Saturday.
This didn't really go into my take, but now looking at it, I'm pretty makes me a little bit more comfortable about my take. St. Cloud has lost like pretty much every Friday that they've played at home so
Mm-hmm.
far. They lost uh 6-5 at home against Western. That's the last time they were home. They lost they won against Anchorage, lost in overtime against Vermont on a Friday, and then they tied with Augustin on what looks like it was a Friday. So, yeah, I'm just gonna say roll with that. I think St. Cloud, most teams on any given Saturday at home are gonna bounce back and
Mm-hmm.
put up a really good fight. And St. Cloud is gonna be, they're gonna have a fire underneath their ass after losing and being under 500. They're gonna want to get rolling, and that Saturday is gonna mean a lot to them. Not that Friday won't, but I would just kind of pick them to win at home on Saturday. So that's what I'm gonna roll with. Yeah, did you go yet or
I'll go against you guys and I say we get a clean sweep. Um,
Ian
I
and
don't
his
know.
sweeps?
Based
I
on
like
how
it.
they've looked, we look kind of like the antithetical squad to them, and I really think that we're going to do a good job at shutting them down. I, for some reason, have a feeling that this is going to be kind of a personal weekend to Dane and Smaby. Just on a hunch. Like I think they're going to have the mindset of like, look, we get spanked one of the nights every game we go out there. Like that's done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I see St. Cloud coming out really hot Friday and getting 2 or 3 goals in the first period. But I see that as a game where we really prove ourselves and we grind back into the game in the second and the third. And then I think Saturday we figure them out a lot and we shut down their top line of high
They
scorers.
they
I
just
think
don't score the rest of the weekend after the first period on Friday.
this is a team that I think that's entirely possible. I have not, I mean, I can look at their goal scorage, but they really, I mean, they haven't put up a lot against anybody that's really good. And if Spunar is going to be in net both nights, they've only really scored against kind of shaky goaltenders. I don't know. I could see them, scoring late too and keeping it close. Saturday could go kind of anyway, but I think we get the shutout on them. I think we, score kind of one in the first, one in the second. They pull their goalie pretty early to try to get something on Saturday, and we put an empty net for 3-0. So I think if anything, they're going to win next weekend against Denver, who cannot seem to beat any bad team for whatever reason. Um, they put up 52 shots against Minnesota on Saturday night and lost to them in overtime. So I don't know what's going on over there. They either absolutely demolish a conference opponent or they lose to a terrible team. So
Hmm.
who
Hmm.
knows what's going to happen? I don't know. I think this weekend is going to be personal to Dane Jackson, similar to how last weekend was. Patterns that we've had the last few years, and I think that's done. I think we make a statement weekend again.
Anything else from you, Lincoln, before I
Yeah,
go into the
I
vent
was just
line
gonna
here?
say I like that prediction, Ian. Breaking the pattern of that's really smart. And then yeah, again, kind of just to go back in a way, I could see him winning or winning Friday, but like I just went with the 4-2 loss just because I do wonder how our younger guys are gonna adapt to the Olympic guys. I'm sure they played on it before, but like the college game is different. But I just don't see if UND does lose, I don't see it being a bad loss this week, and I think it's going to be a likely St. Cloud maybe gets the empty net goal. So, but I think everyone's guesses were pretty good, and I could see literally this is one of those weekends where I think any of our predictions I could see happening right now.
Yeah, for sure. Well, with that being said, we'll go into our vent line. Um, you guys obviously know to just chime in whenever you have something to say. Zach Davidson said Verhoff looked like shit. Uh, anyone got anything to add?
He did
Yeah,
look a little shaky Saturday night. I will agree with that. I don't know. It kind of seemed like he wasn't skating super well on his right foot, so I don't know if he was dinged up. But he was, taking a couple slips on his right foot, and he didn't skate like he normally did. So I would assume he was dealing with something. But
Mm.
yeah, he didn't look particularly great. I'd agree.
Uh, T-Gal 30 said this series solidifies Spunar as the starter. Kind of talked about this a little bit already. It does for the time being. Obviously they'll put Homer in anytime they feel like they need to, but right now they'll ride Spunar out until he loses the spot, which would just be from a loss. And that wouldn't be long term losing the spot, just throwing a new guy in to see if they can rally again. Unless you guys think that they wouldn't do that. That's how I foresee it working
I I,
out.
I see that. I can see that happening. Yeah, I can see. I definitely. Here's what I think. I think Spunar and Homer will for sure split when they play Mercyhurst. That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
And I guess that series does. I will say, pending on who's all back from World Juniors and what might play into that too. But I could see them splitting that series for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's time. Yeah, you ride the hot guy, but I do firmly believe Homer is ready to go in at any moment. And if they did play him for some reason this weekend, just out of the blue, I honestly wouldn't complain. Like he's a good goaltender.
Neither would
Ian
I, yeah.
said it already. All the goals that have been scored against him have been power play or shorthanded, pretty much. So, like, yeah,
5-0 Deuce. I can tell he's a returner. Thank you for keeping up with it. He just said great sweep, oh, with a bunch of exclamation points. I agree, it was great. Uh, Itsem 2022 said Mangini had a wide open net and hit the post. Dot 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 dot. Ugh,
I
so
was hoping
close to
somebody
a
would bring
goal
that
at
up.
the Ralph. Dot dot. Frustrating. Very frustrating for him,
yeah.
I'm sure.
One of the top returning goal scorers in the NCHC, and he just can't score for UND. Man, if he pops in the second half, that's gonna be big. That's a guy who I really hope just starts scoring soon.
Yeah, that's a guy who has kind of been. Uh, I would have maybe thought maybe like not that Ben Stratton would have had 0 point or how many points did Mangini have? One or two?
I think he has two, maybe.
Not that I would have expected Ben Stratton to have two, but I kind of would have maybe expected Mangini to be doing what Ben Stratton is doing right now. But love to see Ben Stratton doing what he's doing. Uh, John Novak said, like watching a like watching a mature UFC cafe match that goes down to time. Gritty wins.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Good way
true.
to put it.
Kate, which is, that's the style of play that we like to play, obviously gritty and hard hitting and some skill, but Bemidji also plays that way too. So that's what makes that series a good one. Kate Grubb 13 said, I thought they were good games! Exclamation point. They were good games. Kate, agreed. Then Trevor Zane 3 said, Yan needs to start every game and the team needs to play better all 60 minutes. Well, uh, anyone got anything to say to that?
I think the 60-minute part's right. I do think UND, and this is every team. There's been like stretches, 10-minute stretches. I think is the best way to put it, where they've
Hmm.
not played that well. But to their credit, they've been able to for the most part this season survive those stretches,
Yeah.
which I think is really big. So yeah.
Hmm. All right, so that was the vent line. We'll move into some bonus content. We'll talk about the World Juniors and how that's all going to shake up as we start getting closer to that. For those of you who don't know and maybe aren't interested or haven't been interested in it before, the World Junior Hockey Championship is hosted right after Christmas, usually starting on the day after or 2 days after. It's hosted all over the world, and it's the players from top players under 20 from countries like United States, Canada, used to be Russia up until they invaded Ukraine. When that ends, hopefully they'll come back. And then Czechia, Slovakia, usually Latvia, Sweden, Finland, and then a mix of, Denmark. There's usually a play-in from the top. There's the top division, and there's Division 1, 2, and 3. Division 1 play the champion of that gets moved up, and then the worst team in the top division, the one that USA is in, gets moved down. They get relegated. So you get a mix of some different countries in there from time to time. Kazakhstan sometimes is in it. Germany is usually in it every year. The normal ones that you would usually see playing the Olympics and stuff like that. So that's being hosted in the Twin Cities, in the G Spot, the Grand Casino Arena in St. Paul, and then the Mariucci Arena in Minneapolis, which I didn't really piece this together, but it makes sense that why they were so. It's an added, uh I don't know what you want to call it. Added, like, it makes sense that they went down to an NHL size sheet, so they could probably host something like this because they can't host. If you look at the pre-tournament games, they're playing in Bemidji, Minnesota State, Duluth, Rochester. Guess what? Guess where they're not playing
St. Cloud. Yeah.
because they're having an Olympic sheet. So I assume that's a big piece of why not a big piece necessarily, but I assume that it was part of why they wanted to go down to NHL besides just kind of getting with the times. Kind of anxious to kind of get in there and see what it looks like, honestly. I'm just so used to the Mariucci looking a little wonky, being so wide, but it'll be interesting to see how it kind of looks different when with an NHL size. But yeah, getting back to the World Junior Championship, it's hosted right after Christmas until January 6th. I want to say it ends this year is when the gold medal game. USA is in Group A, I want to say, and they are in a Group A with Slovakia, not Slovakia. Oh yeah, Slovakia, Sweden, and then two other, like, one of them is probably Latvia or something like that. And then the other one is the big one that's got Finland, Sweden, and Czechia and Canada. I want to say they can't be right. Is that really right? Let me check that real quick, just because that is a stacked division. World Junior. God, think that I look it up all the time and it would just come up, but no. Okay,
Let's see.
I got it
Group
here.
A, USA, Germany, Slovakia, Sweden, Switzerland. Group B is Canada,
Oh
Czechia,
yeah,
Denmark.
why didn't I think that? I'm literally going to the USA Sweden game. I don't know why I didn't say them. Yeah. Yep, Sweden, Slovakia, Switzerland, Germany. Yep, and then the Group B is at the Mariucci. That'll be Finland, Czechia, Canada, Latvia, Denmark. And Denmark's the one that got promoted this year. They're usually in it every other year because they win the top division of the offsetting year. So it's usually like Denmark or then Kazakhstan will get thrown in there or some other Belarus sometimes. But yeah, so USA obviously hosting it. This is the first time USA's hosted since 2018 when it was in Buffalo. That year they lost in the bronze medal game after losing to Sweden in the semifinal. Canada went on to win that one in the last minute of play for the gold medal. And then the last time it was this close to home was in 2005 when it was hosted at the Ralph Ingles Arena and the Mini Ralph in Thief River Falls. Something that'll never happen again. Be hosting it in a tiny arena like Thief River. That'll never happen again. It could maybe happen. I could maybe see it happen where they'd have it in the Ralph and Fargo, maybe, just because some of the rinks that they have it in Canada are rather small. Some of the junior rinks, like in Halifax, is not a super big. The Ralph's bigger than the one in Halifax, so it really depends. The main thing that when they host it in the United States is just try to have it as close to the border as possible, so the Canadians can come across the border and go to the games because they're a big money maker, obviously. But going into how that is pertaining to UND, there were four players on the map for UND to make that could possibly make the Team USA team, and that was Sam Marilla, Will Zellers, EJ Emery got stubbed out of being on the team last year, and then I didn't really foresee this, but Caleb Heil is on the preliminary roster right now as the backup goaltender. Kind of surprised to see that. That's the one thing I think USA is lacking in this year is goaltending, and we've talked about it a little bit between the three of us, but. Uh, Obviously, Will Zellers, and if you can go on the preliminary roster and check it out if you want. Uh, USA left off Will Zellers and Colin Potter, two big names in the NCHC. You just got to think that they just didn't have a spot in the top six, and they didn't foresee them having a role in the bottom six, so that's why they didn't get added to it. There are players that can get added to it. It's not the final roster, but right now EJ Emery and Caleb Heil are the only two UND players, or future UND players, I should say, to be on the preliminary roster heading into December here. And then for Canada, obviously, there's Keaton Verhoff has a very good chance of being on Team Canada. And then I've seen a lot of rosters where Cole Reshny is obviously in the question, but he's an extra on the team. So we'll see what happens if both of them make it. And obviously, we'll talk about it a little bit, but that can make it a pretty interesting situation for when we play Mercyhurst in the beginning of January before the tournament is over. But if anything, if it goes like, oh, I don't even know if they'd be back by then either. But if it goes like the last 2 years where Canada's been eliminated in the quarterfinal, they might be back in time. So we'll see what happens. But uh, I just got my tickets to that last night. And for those of you who are interested in going to the games, it's actually relatively affordable. You wouldn't think so. I want to say this summer the full tournament packages are going for like 3 grand. And then you can actually go on, and I got 3 club level seats with me, my buddy, and his buddy for the medal round games, which is the gold medal game, bronze medal game, and both the semifinals for $355 for all 4 games, which is insane. That's like less than $100 a ticket for 4 great games that you're going to get to see the best in the world play. If that's something that you're interested in, maybe it's a tournament you watched when you were a kid, like I did growing up, and like you guys maybe have as well. Ian, I don't know how much you watched it, but I know Lincoln, you watched it a little bit growing up. But um, great tournament. It's not going to be this close to home probably for another 20 to 15 years. So that's why I really want to go, and evidently I am going. So it'll be pretty pumped. I'll be pretty pumped up about that. Who knows when the Spangler Cup's going on? Is it around the same time?
Yeah, that ends. I think it's starts after Christmas and it ends right before. I think literally the day before UND series against Mercyhurst, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, Livanovich probably won't be back in time, barring travel. It's
And
Yeah,
December
and we
26th to the 31st.
you mean Weeby? Did
both
someone call
know.
him Weeby this weekend?
I thought
No.
Livanovich was going to the Spangler Cup. Is Weeb also
Yeah, he
going?
is. It's
They're
both.
both going.
Yeah,
Are they?
Hmm. Liv and I were just named first, and then we got named later, right?
I think it's the
That
other way
sounds right.
around.
Okay. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know what the Spangler Cup is, it's a annual tournament hosted in is it Spangler? Is that the name of the place? Or I don't think it's
Davos,
Spangler.
Yeah,
Switzerland.
Yeah,
Davos.
Davos, that's right. Uh they literally invite like any team, any big team, and this is the first year that they're sending a all college all-star team, which will be really cool to see, honestly. I'll tune into that when I get a chance, but I mean UND's played in it before. Uh, Dane Jackson's played in it before with his AHL team, so it's literally tons of different teams have played in this tournament. Um, it'll be interesting to see how they match up against the opponents. I can't remember who they're playing now, who they will be playing in that. But yeah, so an interesting situation that's going to be brewing here is the how many players UND is going to be missing during that Mercyhurst weekend. You're missing probably Keaton Verhoff, EJ Emery, probably, and then definitely Abram Weeb and Jake Levinov. It's four of your top four defensemen maybe. And then you're gonna be missing Cole Reshney possibly if he gets named to the team, and then that's it. I mean, not missing a whole lot on forward, but defense is obviously gonna be lacking. Lincoln, what are you doing?
Hmm.
What are you
To be
doing?
fair, it's also
Researching what?
Mercedes hasn't won a single game.
Rosters.
Yeah, so well, I don't want to go on all night talking to myself, so if you guys have anything to add, I would add it, but um
I was joking
oh,
around earlier. I'm a little worried about the coaching capabilities now at both.
okay, yeah, you can go into this now if you want for sure.
I don't
Let's
know if
talk
I'm just
about
an
it. Let's talk about
anti-Motzko
it,
guy.
Ian. Go ahead. Let's talk
I
about
don't know if
it.
I'm an anti-Motzko guy, but and this is all, I just,
Definitely not anti-Moscow guy. Not that I'm
yeah,
not,
definitely
but
not. Like we said, kind of with the snubs, it's whatever. Motzko's channeling his inner Herb Brooks. I'm not looking for the best ones. I'm looking for the right ones. But we'll see. I mean, I don't know. And Godowski going to the Spengler Cup, Godowski is not shown to coach worth anything at Penn State so far. You'd expect Penn State to be the top team in the nation, yet they're already starting to slip out of the top 10. Um, so
Yeah,
I
they
don't
don't
know.
they don't
I
play a
this
game
is
for 40 days either.
Yeah, they don't play until January, so
Yeah, it's
they're
nuts.
taking a huge break.
why are they doing that?
Because they're the Big
No
Ten and
idea.
they're special and can do whatever they want.
I wish I went to Penn State.
It's
Yeah, I
the
don't know. I
epicenter of
think
all
it's
college.
certainly it's also
Their
seemingly,
mascot looks like he's on crack, dude. Have you seen that thing? The Nittany Lion?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
maybe
he's
I'm
a
thinking
bit
of
of a whack
the
job.
I might be thinking of the
No,
BYU
not
one.
the Nittany Lion. I
No,
don't
I
think so.
was just the mascot itself, like it looks like it's on crack, but I couldn't tell if I was thinking about the BYU mascot or the Nittany Lion, but I think I'm thinking of the
Or about the
Nittany
Penn State
Lion.
one.
Yeah, I know it's Penn State,
What were
but
you saying, Ian?
I just We'll see what happens. I would
oh
say
yeah, he's
this
on
is
crack.
not.
That guy's on fucking crack. Look at that guy. Are you
Yeah,
kidding me? That's scary, dude.
it's Diddy University, man.
It ain't no Mike. Mike's your friendly
Anywho,
neighborhood hawk.
I don't see USA winning a third one in a row. I think Canada and Sweden.
Don't talk like that. I'm going to this one.
I'm just saying. I think
I
already
agree.
on paper, Canada and Switzerland look like superior squads.
Switzerland?
Sweden.
Okay.
Yeah, not Switzerland. Why would I say Switzerland?
I don't know, but you said it.
They're off their Swiss
I heard
chocolate. No, I
Sweden.
said Sweden.
You did
Come
not
on
say
now.
Sweden. You said Switzerland, bro. Roll the tape.
Totally. Yeah, run the
You're gonna
tape.
listen to this and you're gonna go back 15 seconds again and you're gonna feel like an idiot.
All right. Anywho, David's going to be disappointed to see us not win the gold medal when he goes, but Um, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's really that incredible of a roster either. I mean, there's a lot of, high talent, but I don't know if Motzko's going to be able to put
Just
it
a
together.
fucking
I mean,
hater.
David Carl's the guy, for the World Juniors. I don't know if he just didn't take it again this year, but
He didn't
that
want to.
guy can motivate anybody to win anything. Um, I don't know if he's got some sort of witchcraft in his basement, which is why he's so successful, but
He sold his soul.
he had to have. That ginger sucker. Um,
He has no
I don't
soul.
know.
He sold it
We'll see
already.
if Motzko gets it done. I don't have a lot of faith in him. I've seen the system at Minnesota progressively decline over the past couple years. Hopefully that changes for the World Juniors and hopefully they come into some fire. But I don't know, that locker room also doesn't look very healthy. You have guys like Will Horkoff,
God.
James Hagans, Cole Iserman, Cole Hudson. These guys are not really known to be great locker room guys. So we'll see. I'm sure they'll gel together just fine because it's the World Juniors, but
Good thing
I
they're
don't
only
see
playing together
uh,
for 2 weeks.
I don't see them getting it done. I see Max Plant being the MVP of our team in the juniors. So
All right,
Yeah.
we gotta slow us down here. All right. Uh, I get what you're saying for sure. Like, I think Moscow's tenure at Minnesota has obviously their team has progressively gotten worse after the national championship game. But I would say that I think that Moscow can coach a high level, high skilled team pretty well. But I think his team just he's at the point in Minnesota where his team sucks and he just can't. There's nothing he can do about it. When you're coaching the World Junior team and putting together that team, you got a lot more resources, a lot more players to just pick from that are willing to come play for you. Um, Moscow obviously won the World Junior Hockey Championship in I want to say 2017. He was the head coach of that team when they won. And Nate Lehman was the head coach in 2021, I want to say, when they won it with Jake Sanderson and Tyler Clevin. And then obviously David Carl was the head coach the last 2 years. Brett Larson was on the assistant last year. I don't know if he's going with Bob this time around. I'd like to think that us being so close to home will allow our players to maybe get a little bit more ice time together. I mean, even if it's just a day. But you definitely don't have to worry about the jet lag going across to Europe to play. I think that helps out a little bit. Um, you just got to be hopeful, man. You know, I remember in 2021, I was talking with my friends, and I mean, Canada was just going to have a stacked roster. They were going to be great. They were unreal. They had Devin Levi in net and Dylan Cousins and all these guys, and uh, everyone was thought Canada was going to win, but I mean, I'm not. I was talking to my friends, and they were like, "I'm not even going to watch. Canada's going to win." And not to toot my own horn, but I thought USA had a chance, and I was like, I think USA could definitely win, and then they ended up winning. And I don't want to just be like, "Oh, I called it," like or whatever. It's just one of those things where you got to just hold out hope and hope that they come out looking good. And we're not by any means chosen to win this tournament. But and obviously Canada's got a lot of talented guys. Gavin McKenna, I assume Porter Martone's going to go and play.
Yep.
Uh, the one thing that has been brought up a lot, and I think is kind of interesting, is I don't. Canada has struggled to produce good goaltenders over the last 10 years. I want to say almost now. Carter Hart's the one big goaltender that they've produced in the world that's played in the World Juniors since then. I would say. Besides Devin Levi, who is yet to like become a mainstay in the NHL. I just saw I don't know how to say his last Melange or something like that. He was the gold medal winning goaltender a couple years ago, but he wasn't a highly touted prospect. He's a backup for I want to say the Jets because Hellebuck is hurt, but um, I think Canada. I mean, the USA. I don't know how their goaltending is going to go either. I mean, it's going to be hard, but I wouldn't say that they're not going to win. It just any team can win. I don't want to go into St. Paul thinking we're gonna lose. I just really don't want to do that, so I'm just not gonna do it. But it's really hard to three-peat. USA's never done it. So, I mean, they beat Sweden pretty handily 2 years ago, and then they hardly beat Finland in the gold medal game last year. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. But what are you doing, Lincoln? Can
I'm
you just hear you
research,
typing over there?
trying to research the
Are you doing
Canada
homework right
roster.
now?
No, I'm trying to research who's gonna be on the Canadian roster. See what people are saying.
Their goalie last year looks like he's going to be coming back, and he had a pretty good uh juniors. And then Michigan's goalie Ivankovic would be the backup, and then I don't know who the
Ivan
third
Kovic?
string is. But yeah, it's a pretty imposing forward lineup. Um,
Yeah, I mean, Canada's finished in the quarterfinals in the last 2 years. They got eliminated by Czechia both times.
Give me
I mean,
Canada gold medal.
they're gonna be hungry, but they're not gonna. I don't know about that. I think if anything, another team will win this year. Like maybe I don't know. I haven't done a whole lot of research on who I. It's gonna be a good opportunity to see the top four picks in the draft. I assume Ivan Stenberg is gonna be there. He's playing in the Swedish Hockey League right now, and then they'll have
Yeah, he's good.
Verhoff
it's
and
been lighting
McKenna
it
playing
up.
on Canada. So that'll be good to see. It'll be a mix, there'll be a lot of good games to watch, and hopefully people at home will get a chance to see it. I assume it'll be on NHL Network and TSN, so wherever you're watching, you'll be able to check it out. Anything else to add before we wrap this up? I gotta eat. Like it's getting late here. Anything else? Lincoln's researching for no reason because he's not gonna chip it in here he's not gonna contribute it to
Yeah,
the
I'm
episode.
everything. I wonder if. Well, I wonder if. I don't think he's gonna. I don't think Boisvert is gonna make the roster. That's
He's
kind of
not.
funny to talk about.
The World Junior rosters, take a lot of the same guys, and that's another reason why Zellers and maybe Colin Potter didn't fit into the top six is because they're going to pick the returning guys, and those returning guys are just going to
Yeah.
play in the top six. So you got to do what you got to do. That is one thing that helps USA. They got a lot of returners, guys that have played before and know how to win and have been in that moment before. So Teddy Stiga obviously is pretty good.
Yeah, he needs to be good.
Cole Eiserman, uh, he's been hurt, but hopefully he can pick it up. And then, yeah, Horkoff has been a stud right now for Michigan, scoring a goal per
Like
game in his last
goals.
as many
Yeah.
games. Was it 14 and 14?
Yeah, I think he leads the country in goals. If I'm
They
not
I think
play
the
mistaken.
18 games, so he's
I
got
think the
18.
real crime here is that Ben Sternen didn't make a team when he was young enough, when he was eligible.
Uh,
But anyway, is everyone good to go?
Good man.
You're good? You got everything you wanted to get out about Bob Moscow?
No, that's for another day.
All right. Are you gonna go to any of the games?
I might. I'm thinking about it. I'll have to see what ticket prices are now. They're probably more expensive now, but
I just got them last night, so
okay. I might catch a medal round game.
y-
I would say that'd be the one I'd go to.
all right. Um, I will say I I do plan on trying to do a arena tour video this weekend at St. Cloud. I don't really need to because I've already been there, but I want to try and just do a quick video vertical like for Instagram and just upload it and just rate it on a couple of different things like food and stuff. Just because it's the first road series I've been on this year, I think it'd be cool to try and get into more of that content of just rating the rink. What do you guys think about that? Show some life here, fellas.
that'd be
Jeez, you
cool.
guys falling asleep on me.
I think that'd be cool. Yeah.
I might go on Saturday. I might meet you there at some point. I'm still thinking about it, but I might drive over there Saturday.
Sounds good. Yeah, so I mean, uh, yeah, I mean, hopefully that does well. I'll probably upload it. I don't know. I'm gonna add it on my phone. I'll find a time to, but yeah, sorry for not having an episode last week, but we should be on schedule to keep going here. A little bit of a longer one today, so sorry about that. But went over some interesting topics. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you, everyone that's a returning listener. If you are returning, we appreciate your loyalty to our podcast and taking the time to listen to us rant about Stuff you could probably hear on a different podcast. But we appreciate you listening to our takes. And if you're new here, welcome to the podcast. We're happy to have you. Please leave comments on any suggestions you have, either if you're on watching on YouTube or watching/listening on Spotify/Apple Podcasts. Leave comments. Let us know what you'd like to hear more of, what we should change, if anything, what we should add. You can also add your vent line submissions for this weekend in there. I'll try and take a look at them, and then you can expect the vent line to be open for this weekend, probably shortly after the Saturday game. Saturday day game. The Saturday night game concludes. Um, but as always, thank you everyone for listening. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter. I put our handles in the description of each video, no matter where you're watching it. So check those out if you are curious. Uh, but thank you guys for anything else to add here. Signing off or anything. You guys want to thank our viewers.
Thank you,
Thank you,
viewers.
viewers. Thank you so much. Thank you, Vent Line. Let's get the Vent Line active because it'd
Yeah, those are
be
good
fun
this
to
week.
have a lot of feedback in the Vent Line.
Thank you guys. That was the first time you guys have said thank you, and I bet they really appreciated that because I really appreciated that. Anyway. Anyway, yeah, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good weekend, and hopefully we watch some good hockey.